That's where you want to keep me. All righty, everyone. Hello. Good evening. Welcome to the Black Girl Magic Financial Magic monthly talk show. Super excited to have you with us tonight. We are going to have a fun conversation about higher education and wealth generation. I'm your host, co-founder, Brandy Baxter, co-founder of Black Girl Financial Magic, which is a 501c6 nonprofit organization for women of color who are in the personal finance space. Our organization promotes, supports, and attempts to grow women entrepreneurs who are also educators by providing a community with tools and resources to help us all grow our businesses and our professional networks. If you want to learn more about our organization, you can visit us at blackgirlfinmagic.com. You can also follow us on all of the social media at Black Girl Fin Magic as well. While you're on our site, be sure to check out your very own Black Girl Fin Magic t-shirt and coffee mug. I got my shirt on today. See if you all can see it. Got the newer version of the Black Girl Fin Magic t-shirt. It's a cool way for you to support our community. Each month we host this talk show so we can have a topic that our audience will relate to, give you an opportunity to meet the women who are doing amazing work in this space, and you can interact with them and ask questions. So thank you so much for joining us. Before we get into our conversation, here's a little bit of housekeeping I want to cover with everybody. Our guests are invited here to share their personal stories and their experiences. While we give them this platform, they deserve all the credit for the fantastic work that they are doing. We want to encourage you to connect with them, follow them on social media, and get plugged in with what they are doing. We'll give an opportunity for each lady to share how you can connect with her, as well as how you can follow her on social media. So without further delay, let's go ahead and get our conversation started. And I want to introduce our very first guest. Her name is Zinnia, or we can call her tonight, we're going to call her Nia. Nia tonight we'll call her. And our second guest is Miss Tracy Jones. Both of these ladies have really cool businesses and they're excited to be with us tonight. And I'm super excited for you all to join us. So ladies, let's get the conversation started. Nia, tell us a little bit about yourself and your business.
So my name is Zinnia. I'm based out of Chicago, Illinois, born and raised. My business is Perspectives, as our goal is to shift perspectives through financial literacy. I started this business because I myself went through, of course, the ups and downs of not having personal finance education, messing up my credit and all of that. And I have a daughter. So deciding that I wanted, more for her, like any parent, you want the best for your children. But I didn't really have, now we have a lot more resources, but when I was younger, we didn't have as many resources to just kind of help you and teach you along the way. So I became like not advisor, but like all of my friends began to come to me because I cleaned my credit up myself. I bought my first house at 27. So just going through all of that stuff by myself through literally seeking out the knowledge, I became like the local, financial person of my friends. And they were like, you need to tell people this, like, right. People need this. And that's what I realized, that it was something that's definitely needed. And I also have a passion for helping parents teach their children. Because we do so much now. Like I say, we're starting businesses and we're creating wealth and we're creating generational wealth, but it means nothing to create generational wealth if you don't teach your children those personal finance concepts. We've all known someone who maybe lost their parents' house or lost their grandparents' house because they just didn't know what to do to try to preserve it. Mm-hmm. So just kind of getting that knowledge to them as early as possible, not by lecture, but more so just incorporating it into your parenting where they actually will retain it. So that's one of my passions as well.
Awesome. Thank you. And I'm glad you mentioned that whole aspect of training up our children, because you're right. All of this work that we're doing, this education that we have, if we don't prepare them, it's lost. So that's really, I'm glad you brought that point out tonight. Thanks. Miss Tracy, how are you this evening?
I am good. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can hear you just fine.
Okay, great. So thank you, Brandy, for inviting me to be on your show.
Absolutely.
And so I am Tracy Tate Jones. I am the CEO of TLJ Professional Services. We offer services in bookkeeping, accounting, taxes, life insurance. We also do business formation. We work with small businesses and entrepreneurs to make sure that they get set up right, get the best tax deductions they can have in their business, as well as with individuals. And I also have a nonprofit called Beat the Streets, Inc., where we provide services in education, employment, and life skills to young adults, 14 to 29. So I'm excited to be here and share my experiences with you.
Awesome. Thank you, Tracy. Yeah, and I didn't know you had a nonprofit. That's cool.
Yes.
Love that.
Always have to plug my nonprofit.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely plug the nonprofit because you need some support there. I can only imagine.
Yes. It takes a village.
And our third guest is Mercedes. Hi, Mercedes. Thanks for joining us. Tell us a little bit about yourself and your business.
Hi, I'm Mercedes. I'm so excited to be on tonight. Thank you for inviting me. So I'm Mercedes Pullum. I'm the founder and owner of MCS Financial Services, which is a credit restoration company where we help our clients gain and maintain financial freedom through restoring and repairing their credit, and then helping them get that financial stability as well. Love what I do. Absolutely love it. Helping people establish credit, and not just establishing it, but maintaining it. It's something that was not really taught in schools at all. So I'm super excited about how we can intertwine, college and then finances, of course, because really, what do you do with this degree, But anyway, so we'll get there. So yes, I love to speak to people. I'm a speaker as well. I go out and speak to ladies, speak to whoever needs me to come speak to their groups. I love it. I love being able to educate people on that or help them get out of really ruts that they didn't even, they don't realize they're in because it's something they've been so accustomed to. It's been something that they've seen all their life. So there's a better way. There is really a better way out there.
Awesome. Thanks, Mercedes, for joining us. Yeah, and you're right. It's one of those conversations where a lot of people go to school and then we kind of get educated and it's like, wait, what do we do with all of this education? So for those of you who are watching us live, I want to let you know that this is an interactive conversation. So my co-founder, Tina Marie, she's going to be monitoring the comments. So feel free to jump in if you have questions, or even if you want to share a little bit about your experience, do so via our chat on the Facebook Live. Super happy to have that. So a little bit about me. I am a lifelong learner. Those that know me, I am always in some kind of a program, some kind of school. I mean, I'm currently in school right now, and I love it. A friend of mine once said, you collect degrees like other people collect like shot glasses. Like I think it's just a thing for me. Like, okay, how many degrees can one person have? But in that, like Mercedes kind of mentioned, I've begun seeing how it's valuable having the degrees, even if it's not always in the same area that I study. It has opened up a lot of doors and opportunities for me. So Nia, we'll start with you first. Tell us a little bit about your educational experience, and then also how has that created opportunities for you?
So I personally have my undergrad. I have a bachelor's in business administration with a concentration in management information systems. And then I have an MBA in finance. For me, and I also have an 18-year-old daughter who's currently a freshman in college right now. So I have it on as a parent, sending my child to college, having the financial responsibility of it, and as a student myself, having gone. I personally paid for my undergrad out of pocket. So I didn't take student loans out until I entered into my master's program because I didn't want to have to focus on the money. I was like, okay, I've come this far. But what I did was I went to a community college first. And that's the same thing I have my daughter doing. For me, college is not only just about the degree. Like you said, It's about the networking. It's about the circle that you put yourself amongst of people who are pursuing higher, that you end up having long life friends. And that's how a lot of families and people set themselves up for success. They meet people in college, and then when they have children, it's like, oh, my friend's the CEO of a firm over here. He could probably get you an internship over there. Like, your network is always going to determine your net worth. So just getting a degree, I got way more than a degree. And then the teachers, I have some teachers, a lot of the teachers have businesses on the side. And so I have, like, one of the teachers was a lawyer. He offered resident agent, services for people formatting small businesses. Like, the resources, like you said, that you get, even the resources that they provide that you can get as an alumni and attending the alumni events, you can network for whatever it is you're doing. And it's just so much more to me than just, oh, I went to school and got the degree. It kind of, it gets you in the door, but I feel like you get more out of it.
Yeah, perfect. Thanks, Nia. Tracy, what about you? What's your education experience?
So I went the non-traditional route. So straight out of high school, I went to Hill College here in California. And, I did my AA degree in accounting way back when. And, I thought that was enough. But as I progressed through my career, like every so often when I was looking for an advance in my career, I couldn't get it. So I went back to school and got my bachelor's degree, and that helped me for a little bit as well. And then, I wanted to make another step, couldn't get that step. So I went back and got my master's in business administration as well as accounting. And then, like you say, I'm a career-long education person as well. So just recently, so I got my master's in 2007, but I went back and got a certificate of accounting, just kind of refresh my knowledge and skills a couple of years ago. And I've been kind of dabbling in the CPA study courses for a couple of years now. And then because I am IRS PTIN for tax preparation and CTEC, which is California state certification to do tax preparation. That continuing education is annually, right? So I'm continuing that education that way. And then I'm also a licensed life and health agent, which also requires continuing education. I'm like, can I group all of these ethics courses into one? How many times can you just
have some e-courses offering?
Right. So, I did the non-traditional approach. I did not want to be bogged down in a college. I needed to, just because of the way life was for me. I had to get right into a career. I didn't have time to kind of just go through college. I had to get into college, get a career, and start making income because I had my child at
right. Can I add one more thing?
Yeah, go right ahead.
So similar. I just got my MBA 2017.
Yay!
Congratulations.
I started school when I first graduated, but like you say, I had a daughter, so I had to make the decision. And then I became a mail carrier for 7.5 years. And I don't know if you all know anybody who's a mail carrier, but it's not a good job to be able to go to school and do, because it's very taxing on your body. So I had to wait till I could get a schedule to attend school again. But like you say, it had a concealing over my head. Like, you make okay money, but at what cost? So I took a $15,000 pay cut and switched to an office position. I finished my bachelor's while I was still at the post office, like taking class, and paying for it. And then I switched to an office position. And like you say, I didn't have as many options with just the bachelor's for what I wanted to do. So I looked into what my options were, and I got a master's that accompanied that. And I make more now than I made. This is my 9 to 5 that I made at the post office when I left, so definitely, I agree. Like, we kind of have a similar story. And then I became a financial education instructor. So I got that certification. So you kind of have to, stay up with it and keep updated information and do continuing education. I agree.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, I love those similarities there. And you're right, both of you. To maintain relevancy in this industry, you want to keep up with the continuing education because it changes so rapidly. And so, perfect. Thank you for sharing that. Mercedes, tell us a little bit about your education experience.
Hi. So I'm gonna go a little against the grain.
Not a popular opinion, but I have a degree, a bachelor's degree in criminal
So hey,
justice.
Mercedes, I'm going to stop you really quickly. Whatever you're using the microphone, it's coming across really garbled. We can barely hear you.
Yeah.
I heard you clearer before. But it's not coming across real clear right now.
Okay, is this any better?
A teensy bit, yeah. We'll try that. Okay.
I think she's having technical
while she's working that, we'll come back to her. But so you ladies both shared that you see the value in education. And I love how you talked about the non-traditional path, right? You know, going in, doing what you had to do first, which was earning some income so you could later afford college. And sometimes I worry that the message, even today in 2019, the message is still go to college first. And
absolutely
think about that. That whole pushing our kids to go to college first. What are your thoughts on that?
My daughter, as I said, I have an 18-year-old daughter. So she get, from, I'm going to say sophomore year, because I started taking her to college fairs just so she could learn like what they would require. And she received college mail like nobody's business. She wasn't receiving any other mail, but she was getting college mail, and then it was like crazy. Like they definitely pushed that. But they don't teach the financial part of it, like the numbers game it is to get a scholarship. How many scholarships you actually got to apply to before you actually get one.
Exactly.
The fact that financial aid counts my retirement money as income.
Yes.
But I'm not touching that money. So why are you including that in what you say that I can afford to pay? You want me to clear my 401k out so then she can go to school and then I can't retire? No. Like they kind of setting you up. So you're going to have to work forever, because if you clear out your 401k to pay for their school, then what? Like, you help them with their school, but now you have to build their retirement, and time is your best friend in retirement. So they really kind of set you up the way that they push it.
Yeah. Tracy, what are your thoughts on that?
So I am very pro-education, even in the nonprofit, and that's why I brought that up. We offer scholarships to dropouts to encourage them to go back and get their GED or complete their high school credit.
That's good.
Because for me personally, even in my personal life, if I had not had my education in line and knew the importance of education, I wouldn't have had a snapback after a traumatic event in my life. So, I'm very pro-education, and regardless of what field of employment or entrepreneurship you want to go in, business, even just take some college courses, because business is required. Otherwise, you're going to pay somebody else to do it. Now, college ain't for everybody, and I get that, but in certain fields, it's a requirement, like in accounting, like in taxes, you have CPA, all of that stuff. You have to have doctors, lawyers. There's no getting around it. There are some very successful pathways that don't require that education. However, without some kind of foundation of business, then you're paying somebody else to just do just the basic stuff for you. Otherwise, you're leaving money on the table. And that's the reason why I like to work with startups and small business and entrepreneurs, strictly because if you get started correctly, you have to invest in your business, you have to invest in your education, and you must invest in ongoing education, no matter what field you go in. So education is the key in no matter what you do.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think we're all on the same page with that, but let's focus a little bit. Do we think that we should encourage folks to go to college right after school, or should they get a little life experience, kind of know what they want to do? Because in your cases, you both didn't go right to college. Now, in my case, I literally graduated high school, went to college for 4 years, and then I went to the military.
That's a blessing.
I was kind of a little lost, I was kind of like, I've invested this time and I didn't know what my area of interest was in the town that I grew up in. There was no market for that degree. So what are your thoughts on that? Do we encourage folks to go right after high school, or is there a little bit of value in having some of that life experience first?
So I say it depends on the person.
Okay.
It depends on the person and how that person is. So like, for instance, my daughter, to be honest, she didn't take college seriously. She didn't take college seriously until I literally had to make her pay for her first semester. I'm dead
She understood
serious.
then, huh?
Because she didn't apply for scholarships like she was supposed to. She said verbally that she wanted to go to school, and she said that it was something she wanted to do, but she didn't have that mental to know like this is real. This is not a game. This is not a drill. This is absolutely real life. And so it took something for her to get serious. So I'm glad that she's going to a community college first, because by the time she graduates with her associate, she'll have a better idea of what college is. She'll be more serious and know more about what she wants to do, as opposed to going to a university and changing her major 4 times and being on the 8-year program, because each major she changed it to, they're going to extend how long she got to go to school. Now she owe a house and before she can get a degree. You know what I mean? Like, I think that it depends on the person and them knowing about where. Some people, it might be better for them to go if they already focused, they already own it, because college not only, like she said, when you start a business, it's so much stuff that you're going to have to hire people to do. But I'm sure we all know when you first start a business, you don't have any money to hire anybody to do it.
Right.
I've been in business 2 years. It's been a one-woman show. I've taken courses and maybe taken a boot camp from this person, but I'm my social media manager and marketer. I'm my person sending out my pitch emails. Like, you have to do everything and learn everything. So those courses also will help you have that background to build off of, you know what I mean? So that you're not, and then that's also how you get cheated, because you hire somebody to run your finances, that they take all your money because you don't have a clue what they're supposed to be doing.
Right. Good
and
point.
Then now you broke when you made all that money because you didn't have that knowledge to be like, no, that's
just the basic.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And so I think it just depends on the person, and they have to decide the best path for them. Sometimes going straight after school might not be best for that person, because how many people have went to school straight after and flunked out and got kicked out of school? Now they're not even in school. And now later in life, they're like, man, I need to get back in school and get this done, get that done.
Right.
Some people need that life experience, and some people are on it from the beginning, like, okay, let's do this.
Yeah, good point. Thanks, Nia. Hey, Mercedes, welcome back. We're going to bounce it over to you. Tell us about your college or education experience.
Okay, my educational experience. So my degree's I have a bachelor in criminal justice with a minor in Spanish. Kind of untraditional, traditional. I joined the military when I was 17, but I did the Guard. So I was able to go to school and serve. So, but I didn't start until I was 19. Are y'all able to hear me okay?
We hear you better.
Very much so.
Okay. So I didn't start until I was 19 spring, but still with my class. But I did have the benefit of going to school and getting them to pay for school, for my tuition. For my tuition. They didn't pay for housing. So I'm listening to y'all's stories, and then you're talking about community college, and here in Texas, that is a great option. I did not necessarily have or know about that option. I'm from Alabama, so that's not something that was pushed. It wasn't something that was talked about. And I knew when I was in 4th grade, I didn't have a choice. I didn't have an option but to go to college. I remember my 4th grade teacher saying, does anybody here want to go to college? And I was like, I don't have a choice, because my mom beat it in our head from a young age, like, you have to go to college. And now, I said earlier, I have an unpopular opinion. So I do agree that it's different for everyone. You have to look at what you have, your choices, but I feel like it should almost be criminal to push an 18-year-old out into the world and make them decide what they want to do for the rest of their lives, allegedly, at 18. Unless you're going to school for like a STEM, accounting, engineering, all of those, I absolutely believe go ahead and go for it. Get those degrees that are, again, I probably have an unpopular opinion. I realize that if you're going to get a degree and you don't necessarily know what you want to do with your life quite yet, get a degree that's going to benefit you financially, and you'll figure it out along the way.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Absolutely.
That's that foundation. Exactly.
Yes. Figure it out along the way while you're making some money, and you can save and start to do things with that money versus I got to figure it out along the way. I have a degree. I'm not really making any money, but I still, I got the debt to show it. You know, I went to school, but I didn't get a degree in a field where I can really get a good job, or a job that is like financially beneficial, you know, because again, now you're older and you're trying to figure it out. Well, what am I going to do? But you want to set yourself up to be in a position to not put yourself in so much debt, you know, like you mentioned, being on an 8-year plan and going to school for all the time and taking out all these loans, or for me, my thing was I remember I moved here to Texas when I was like 22 or 3, and I was still trying to figure out what I wanted to do exactly. And I was getting told, you know, just go to school for your master's. And I was like, but for what? I mean, I don't know what I want to go for. And at that time in my mind, I was like, I just don't want to go get another degree. 1, to just say I have one, and then 2, not know what I want to do with it exactly. So I think it's important to do that, that research, what you do want to do, and how it will be beneficial. Because if you're going to get a degree, you know, accounting, those are great degrees, you know, that you can find yourself in a position with just a bachelor's degree, not just, because I don't want to minimize that, but you can find yourself in accounting with a bachelor's degree and come out making $50,000-$60,000 and then work your way up over the years as a young person. And then you do have the non-traditional roles as well, which is, I grew up in that house, that house where my mom was in her 40s working on, I think 30s, finishing up her bachelor's, and 40s, 50s working on her master's. And she's done. She's got it. And that's wonderful. And I think you have to make those choices for you, but try to make those choices that aren't going to put you into a debt situation, a situation where now you just feel like you're drowning because everybody told you this is what you need to do.
Okay, so I have a rebuttal to that.
Mercedes.
Okay.
I'm going to bounce it to you, Tracy, because we have a comment from Graham, which I think deserves discussion. And I think this might be in your wheelhouse, Tracy. So Graham is talking about how, despite the fact that every situation is not going to fit everyone, we still need to educate our young people on the importance of education. And I want to add to that, especially as minorities, right? Especially as Black, especially as Black women, minority women. My personal opinion is we can't afford to not go to college, no matter when it is, whether it's right out of high school or whether it's the working mom with 2 kids. Tracy, tell us a little bit. I know you want to say something, but I want you to also tap on that about the importance, you know, for us as minorities or people of color, for the importance of education.
So my response is actually going to be both-sided, because a story I have, my niece, when she was graduating high school, and I actually do this in the nonprofit as well, she knew she wanted to go to a HSBU, but she was concerned about the debt. So, you know, what kept coming up in Mercedes' conversation was the debt. And one thing I'm a firm believer is I'm worth every penny. I don't care how much it costs. and I'm a benefit from it for the rest of my life. So like when she graduated high school, or was graduating high school, you know, we had a conversation. She was crying because she didn't want to do a financial aid or a loan. And she was actually going to pass up that opportunity. But I told her, I was like, no, you go to this HSBCU and you get your education. You do what you need to do. We'll figure out the money thing later. There's student loans, there's grants. So she actually ended up doing her whole master's program at Clark, where she studied marketing. She got hired straight before she even exited college for Nestle. You know what I'm saying? And it all stemmed from that conversation. She wasn't going to go. So I'm glad she kind of talked to me first before making that decision to pull the plug. And me personally, I wish I had with her path, and got it all done at once and reaped the benefit straight after her little 4 years. So now she's 24 and making almost 6 figures right off the bat. You know what I'm saying? By us putting that time in between. So like you were saying, Mercedes, your mom going back at 50 or 40 and 50, you're never too old. So I preach that as well. Never too old for education. And I'm worth every penny. Hell, excuse my friend. They can't get it if I'm dead. You know, so that debt is gonna be there. You know what I'm saying? But I'm gonna reap the benefit of what I learned. So yes, I do push and encourage some kind of college. So college isn't for everybody. I get that, but having a college education, even if it's just the 2-year AA, it's a foundation, and it's a foundation that can never be swept from under you. You know, they try to take everything else you got, but that's one thing they cannot take is your education.
Thanks, Tracy. Now, Nia, I want to follow up with you because you actually have a college-age daughter or soon to be college age. And Tina brings up a good point. How can we help prepare our young people for the financial costs associated? Because we don't walk into this mountain of debt just because we value education and we know it will benefit them in the long run. So what are some things that we can actually begin having a conversation about to prepare them for this? Go ahead.
So, for one, I kind of have things I want to touch on too. So like what Mercedes says about them deciding what they want to do for the rest of their life, make them active with it, make them interactive with it. Like we are in the technological age where they have all this information at their fingertips. All the schools take them on college trips and things like that. But really all of the colleges do is they do a tour. And then next thing you know, every time my daughter came home from one of those trips, she had a different major she wanted to be because of course they picked the students who were doing the best and they made it sound like it was so fabulous and you should attend here and everything's going to be great. Well, I made my daughter, okay, you want to study that? Why? What are you going to do with that?
Right.
Make them go through that process themselves where they can actually even grasp the concept of, I'm not, you know, because they don't really get the in-depth, like you say, they push you, oh, go to school, go to school, go to school, but they're not getting that foundation of why they're going to school. And that's my thing. Like, I'm still an old school parent, but some things do need to be explained as to why. Why are you going to school? Okay, you're going to school to get a degree. What is that point of that? Like, they don't grasp that whole concept. So what I had my daughter do is before she could even come to me with a major that she wanted to major in, I had to know what she was going to do with it.
Right.
And what kind of money does that person make? Is that okay for the lifestyle that she wants to live?
Right.
If that's not okay for the lifestyle you want to live, then are you sure that's something you want to do?
Right.
Like I made her be interactive with it. And then when I took her to college trips and spoke to the different admissions counselors for each college, show her on the brochure how much the school costs and how much the room and board costs. You see that? You see how the board costs the same as education? Like, so you understand more so of because a lot of people just go state, you know, they just tell you, oh, just sign here, 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 and then this there. And next thing you know, now you owe all this money, but you don't understand what's behind it. So I personally was proactive and I started letting my daughter know and explaining to her and letting her understand this is expensive.
Right.
It's not cheap. It's not, oh yeah, you're going to sign and it's really easy to sign, but you're going to pay for it later. And you need to maybe help them get that understanding because then they graduate and all that stuff is adding up and it's like, whoa. So that's what I suggest. Letting them understand how much it is, letting them understand what getting a degree. Okay, you're going to use, let them look at job announcements, vacancy announcements, so that they can see what type of jobs, what kind of income certain jobs are getting right now, because of course it's going to, you know, it would go up, but it gives them an idea like, oh, okay, so this is what they look for. So you kind of more so creating a plan as opposed to just randomly going because, oh, I think I can read this. I think I'm going to go be a literacy. You know what I mean? Like having more foundation behind it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
It shouldn't be like this traditional, non-traditional, because because I have an 18-year-old, and everybody know I have an 18-year-old, I always get the question, where is she going? Where does she go? And I'm like, oh, well, she's going to community college. Oh, well, that could be a good option. Oh,
it is a good option.
That's better. Like everybody has this automatic opinion of, oh, well, she's going, it'll be okay. Like I didn't say I had a problem with it.
Right.
I never said I felt bad about her going. I wanted her to go. Like, you know what I mean?
Exactly. Because she could figure out what she want to do.
Go on my resume.
Then, yeah.
Nobody even knows where I have my associates now that I have a master. So it's like, that's just, I think, what they push in, like what society puts into our head and what people think. Because I promise you, every time I tell somebody, oh, because Chicago has the City Colleges of Chicago, and they have like 7 schools, but you can interchange between all of them, and all of them are the same. So if you go to this location this semester and that location that semester, it's all on the same system, and so it's a wonderful program. Like, and I worked here when I worked over there. I went to this school, but in the end, all your credits are transferable amongst all of them. And then they have agreements with different universities where they'll tell you what classes you need to take there. Take advantage of that.
Prerequisites.
Right.
Exactly. You know what I mean? Prerequisites.
Yes, exactly. And a lot of kids who go, that's another option. If they do go to a university, look at the local community college, because you might be able to take your prerequisites at the community college level and get those prerequisites cheaper, which will in the long run save you money on your like UIC students. A lot of UIC students, which is a really big school here, they were sitting right in class with me at the community colleges, getting their electives and their prereqs all the time.
And that's a really smart plan too, Nia, with how to afford college, you know, not pressuring our kids to go to these 4-year degree programs as if going to an associate's program somehow is less than. It's like you said, once you get the degree, nobody cares about the understudies.
Right, where you got them from.
Because I saw somebody ask about when they graduated and like not having any experience, it being a catch-22. This is what I always tell people: get an internship.
Yes.
Go on internships.com. If you work there once a month or once a week, or you did 5 hours a week, is you going to say 5 hours a week on your resume? If you start that your sophomore year, it's still going to look like you have 2 years experience when you graduate.
Right.
Exactly.
You see what I'm saying? So I always tell people, go get an internship, go volunteer somewhere. And even if you have your limited time, you can do it, but it's still going to account for the time that you were there. So on your resume, it's going to be you building experience in your field, it's not really going to be burdensome. So that's what I normally have people do.
Yeah. So we've got a comment here and a question from Juanita. She's in Erie, Pennsylvania, and they don't have community college in her area. All of us, we have community college where we're located. What are some other options that you ladies can think of in lieu of community college?
Do they have any state colleges?
Back to my niece. When she
go ahead, Tracy.
Clark, she paid for her education through her grades. So just keeping her grades up, she got scholarships, and they have all kind of ethnic scholarships that they could get. She joined a sorority, which also had scholarships. So a lot of her education was actually paid for through scholarships, by keeping her grades up, joining a sorority, and then the ethnic, all schools have those ethnic grants and stuff. There's so much money out there that people don't stop and research, or think that they can't get it, because you got to jump through the hoops. But the hoops is to make sure that they're going to be dedicated to what they're saying that they want to do. Because anybody spending them hours filling out those applications or doing them essays and all that stuff to get the money, then they're serious about what they want to do and what they're trying to get.
And then that's what I say. My daughter was not. That's why.
Exactly. So it's about educating them and making sure that they know that there's money available that don't have to be through a loan that they have to pay back. But there are criteria, and making sure that they get the criteria.
My suggestion would be look into state colleges or state universities. They normally have cheaper education. Like I went to Chicago State for my undergrad, and then I just cut off my cable. I knocked my cell phone bill down. I did what I had to do for those 2 years. I also would suggest look up colleges that get good and big endowments, because if you make a certain income, there are many schools that if you're below, and it's a little bit higher than like some of the low income assistant programs. So it's a little bit higher threshold than that, but they'll meet your needs. Like if they have the grades to get them there, My next suggestion is if they're going away, look at somewhere like Iowa. Look somewhere like that that's not a very popular, location that people go to, because Iowa will give you some money to come there. I know a lot of people who went straight to school after college from me, and they got money from Iowa. Just like one of them, he wanted to go to a HBCU, but the HBCU wasn't really offering him any money. Iowa was giving him a full ride.
Wow.
So
that's worth it.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Somewhere like that, that might be something you can look into, and it might end up being cheaper in the long run for you. So it's not because it's a lot.
Mm-hmm. Mercedes, talk a little bit about your experience. You said that you had the military to pay for your schooling, right?
Yes, they paid for my tuition.
Uh-oh.
They did not pay for my...
Oh no, the audio's acting up again.
Okay, let's try this. I just got... Is this any better? Maybe my hand was covering it. Is that what it is?
No.
No. Okay. Hold on.
Well, I do remember from her earlier comments, she was saying that the military paid for her tuition, but not books, not room and board. So that's definitely something to keep in mind. As we're counting the cost of college, because it's one thing to think about, okay, I've got a scholarship for my tuition. Woohoo! And who's going to pay for these books?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right. That too. Can you hear me?
Yep. We see you much, much
I was able to rent books in college. So I think there's a lot of sites because I didn't want them after I graduated for sure. So like Chegg, I think Chegg.com was one.
Yep.
CHEGG.com. I think I rented off of Amazon, and it would be like $7 for the semester, $19 for whatever, depending on whatever the book was. And to me, that was worth it as well. And I they did pay for books as well, but I got to kind of pocket that money. So, I didn't have that struggle as a college student, but just, because they were able to pay while I was going through, and I got all these benefits, but, like the, Montgomery GI Bill or the GI Bill, I definitely was able to take advantage of that while I was in college. So I didn't necessarily struggle on the day to day like most college students, but I just wish there at that time, because like Nia said, we're in the technological age now. It was kind of coming through when I went to school, but not so much. And so I didn't really have that research under my belt and that advisor, when I was like, oh, I want to go to law school. I think I want to go to law school. Like, oh, you can get a degree in anything. Anything like what? Like what does that mean? Anything like what? And so there wasn't really this, I do have that foundation, that education foundation, but it wasn't really that help going through like, this is what you should really look at, because now I would tell young people like go into a STEM or anything like that to get your foot in the door with a degree that's going to benefit you. Market and Nestle is a good company, so that's good anyways.
Right. Excellent.
So I actually networked with someone who worked for Nestle, and I was like, oh wow, I think at that time she was still receiving pensions. But I wish I could, if I could rewind the time, and now I started thinking about STEM a couple of years ago, like going into management information systems. And my brother's a non-traditional student, so he was in and out of school, and now he's back in school and he's in his mid-30s, but now he has a better idea of, this is how I can provide for my family. This is a route I can take, and I could be good at anything, but let me get my foot in the door. Let me be able to, get in school and get this degree. It's something that I can come out the door making $90,000, $80,000, and comfortably take care of my family. So I absolutely recommend people researching what they can go into. So criminal justice, I can always go to be a police officer, and I don't mean to offend anybody. That's the degree I have. I think it's the worst degree ever to get now as an adult. it's a degree that's not necessary, because you can go into that field with a a couple of years of college, or not even a couple of years, like 22 credits of college. And, so I wouldn't recommend it unless you're going to move up. And then, even working for the FBI or anything like that. Again, it's one of those fields where you can get a degree in anything. And if you don't like it, if you think this is what I'm passionate about, I can go into this field, and you don't like it, but you have a degree in something that now you can fall back on and be like, okay, I can go here until I figure out what it is I really want to do. But again, you can make money in a field where you can make money if you have that degree. And I do agree, we cannot afford to not go to college, Brandy. My mom used to tell me all the time, I don't care if you want to flip burgers the rest of your life,
Right.
you flip burgers, but as soon as you're ready to change your mind, you can do that.
Exactly. I say that too. Like, get your education. You might not want to use it now, but when you're ready to, it'll be there for you to use. I'm 100% agreement with that. And when we were kids, when you were little, they used to ask you, well, what do you want to be when you grow up? So you knew what you wanted to be, and you actually, kind of geared toward that. These kids don't have that mindset these days. You know what I'm saying? They're not thinking about like what they want to be when they grow up. They just want to grow up. That's the difference in the, education now, or just neighborhoods now, and growing up in this century. So like what our kids is dealing with now is nothing like what we never had to deal with the stuff that they dealing with now. They're on a whole level. So that's something to think about as well. It's not like they don't really get to be kids. Like, I'm very old school, and I'm always saying, let a kid be a kid, But we don't really get to play outside like they used. You know what I'm saying? They don't go visit firehouses and stuff. You had as a kid, you thought you wanted to be this or that or whatever. These kids ain't thinking about that. They'd just be happy to go outside and play, or make it till tomorrow, and that's the sad part.
Now, Mercedes shared a story about her brother and like how his mindset is different now as an adult. What are some things that you all recommend, or some tips that you all can share with parents? Like Nia, you already have a student that's kind of college ready, but like, what should the parent of an elementary age student be thinking about now versus what should a parent of a middle school student be thinking, a parent of a high school student be thinking? What are some recommendations that you ladies could share for the parents who have students in the different age groups?
So my suggestions would be, like she said, they're putting a lot of money into STEM. My daughter didn't like STEM. She wasn't into it. So I didn't want to force her into something that, like she said, let a kid be a kid. I wanted to find her natural talents and find out what she naturally was good and passionate about. So sometimes that's one of the first steps you can take as a parent, finding out what their passions are. What are their strengths? What are their weaknesses? Because I didn't want to, she could have gotten plenty of money, like she said, for STEM, but she didn't even want to go to a computer coding class she could go to for free.
Wow.
For a summer. She just was, she was more artsy. She's more creative. So that wasn't something that she wanted to do. So I think that's the first step, just finding out what their natural talents, things that come easy to them that might be hard for the next person, and see what careers that would translate to, because that's something that they'll probably be happier in. You volunteer with them, like especially as they start to get older in different fields and things, and see, because I originally wanted to be a lawyer, but then I was in the College Excel program, which basically means you start to take college classes while you're in high school. Or, I had a child. I was actually an excellent student. So I went to College Excel, but sitting in those law classes, I was like, no, this is not it. This is not going to be it. I cannot do this. No. So exposing them. I'm a firm believer in travel, because it opens their minds. Opens their minds to other things, and to know that what we do here may not be the only way that things can get done. And it just opens them to differences. So I'm an avid traveler, and my daughter travels because I feel like that's something else that will open their mind, because you can't push them into the corner that you want to push them in, because they're probably not going to excel. You know what I mean? Unless you're just like forcing them, you know? So I think that's a good way to do it. I did want to touch on a couple of things. For textbooks, I used to go to directtextbooks.com. It basically compares all the sites, and it'll tell you how much they're charging for the books, and it'll tell you how much they're renting the books. So you can decide which one is the cheapest.
Oh, nice.
That's how I get my books. And especially now it's a lot of ebooks. So it's just it's cheaper ways, because each semester they come out with a new edition.
Right.
The old edition, you can't get any money for it. So it's an expensive game buying books.
Yes.
Yeah, I still have my books from 2003 and 4. But you know what? I paid a lot of money.
Like, of course, my financial planning book. I'm like, no, yes, I'm keeping it. I'm going to buy it.
Exactly.
Hey, Nia, when you get a chance, type that website in the chat box, either in our private chat, and then Tina can put it in the public facing chat. Because I think that'll be a huge resource for folks.
It is. I'm telling you. And my daughter, she got her books for school at a great rate because she checked the site and chose which one. And I'm not loyal. If Chad got it cheaper, then I'm gonna get this book from Chad, this book from Amazon.
You say I'm not loyal.
Books that's cheaper because all coins matter.
I know that's right. Tracy, what about you? What tips do you have for parents who have kiddos at different age groups, like the elementary, middle, and high school students?
So really get them, like Nia said, about volunteering, going to different organizations, seeing what they have in the community, because the community get the information first. So like at our nonprofit, we are a resource center. So we get information about stuff all the time. So, and then and they're never too young to start, because like I said, you know, when we were kids, we used to get asked, what do you want to be when you grow up? And although that might not be what you actually came out to do, it still got your mind to thinking of what you could do. Right. So really giving them options to really see what different paths people are, because even in my age now, you know, I look at some businesses like, wow, people actually have a business in that, but somebody got to do it. So, you know, so I'm like, okay, yeah, there's an opportunity in business, especially for any field. So it's really tapping into, like Nia said, what they like to do and really letting them see options. So one thing that my son used to always say, well, I want to be in construction. I want to be in construction. But I'm like, what part? There's so many different parts, you know, the engineering piece. Do you want to be carpenter or laborer or whatever? So that's even part of what we're trying to do. We have a next step program with the nonprofit to work with seniors to get them on a path that they want to go to when they graduate, whether it's college, employment, or entrepreneurship, so that they can really see what different options they have. Because you go into one thing thinking one thing, but you don't know until you kind of explore the field and do the research, like Nia was saying. There's actually other options, and I'm actually a victim of that, because like graduating in 1987, you know, I knew I liked math, and the only option I thought I had was accounting, and that's why I chose accounting as my career. But I also like to draw, and I also like to build. So I actually should have been an actual engineer, you know, or architect, exactly, an architect or an engineer, where, you know, I would have been groundbreaking, you know, as a Black American woman, to break into that field, because that was years ago, you know. But, you know, now it's not just a dream. You know, we've had a Black president. So, you know, things like when I was growing up, you didn't think you could get in certain fields. There's a first Black anything, whether it's male or female, to get these things done. So whatever it is they want to do, they could do it.
Right.
Good. How about you, Mercedes? What advice would you give to the parents?
Yeah, so I actually will not take credit for this, but I have nephews and nieces, and I met a lady last year, and on a plane we were talking, and I said, how did you get into, she was a Black woman, and I said, how did you get into being a physical therapist and into physical therapy? And she was like, you know, when I was growing up, my mom, I think there was like 6 kids. And so my mom made us all pick careers that we think we would want to do, much like Nia said, pick them write about them, write a paper about them, and then you have to find a place that will let you volunteer.
Wow.
And
Nice.
in that field that you think you want to work in. And so she had did different things, and she did physical therapy, and she said there was a little boy who was having trouble walking straight, and when he finally was able to walk down and walk back, turn around, she said when he turned around he had the largest smile on her face, and my heart was just like, oh, this is what she said, my heart was just like, oh my gosh, this is what I'm meant to do.
Yeah.
And so, because I'm always like inspired to see, women in these fields and these great career fields and be in positions. And I'm just like, how'd you get here? Like, what made you make up your mind to do this? And, and I thought that was a brilliant ideal to get your kids to write about.
It is.
And I think she said they had to pick several different fields.
Nice.
Look up and write about it. And so
I think that's a great idea.
That is.
Yeah. And so I told my sister, I was like, hey, look, he's going into 9th grade. You definitely need to get him to start doing this. I don't know if she implemented it with him or not, but I know once I have kids, or a kid, because at this point, maybe a kid, that'll definitely be something, because if you're going to go, please love what you do. Like, love what you do if you can. That would be the best. That would be the best route to go.
Perfect. I love that. Thank you so much. Okay, ladies, this has been a fantastic conversation. I'm sure that our audience will really have some good feedback. Juanita has been super engaging. We appreciate that. I want to give you all about a minute to wrap up and let the audience know how they can connect with you online, and if you have any ongoing offers so that those who watch the replay will get a chance to connect with you. And Mercedes, we'll go ahead and start with you.
Okay. You can connect with me on Facebook at MCS Financial Services. My logo has a little tree with money falling from it. Or you can find me on Facebook. Mercedes A. Pullum is my name. Instagram, I'm building up. So please, if you can, go follow me. It's MCS Financial Services. I'm sorry, MCS Financial Services was already taken on Instagram. So I don't post as much there, but that's because I don't have a large audience. But I got to do better with that. You definitely can connect with me on there as well. And you can go to my website, mcsfin.com, mcsfin.com, and find everything you need to find out. We don't have any promotions going at this time, but credit, once you fix your credit, it's the investment on it. Like, I'm sorry, I want to say Miss Tracy, but I don't think that's right.
No, that's right. Everybody call me Miss Tracy. You're good.
Miss Tracy, like Miss Tracy said, she's worth every bit of the investment in education. Yes. And look, you can invest in yourself if you need your credit repaired. If you ever look and saw how much you're spending on high interest rates or anything like that, the investment is $189 to enroll, at $89 a month, $21.99 for credit monitoring, so under $111. But with the turnaround, no guarantees per CROA, but with the turnaround of that, you'll be saving hundreds if your interest rates are high or you can't get approved to get into the areas you need to go. So absolutely, I would love to help you. Again, Mercedes Pullum, Financial Services.
Perfect. Thanks, Mercedes. Miss Tracy, you're up next.
Okay, I am Tracy Tate Jones, and you can find me at TLJ Professional Services, Inc. On Facebook, Instagram, and the website. All of it is TLJ Professional Services. We do have 30-minute free consultation, whether it's on business, life insurance, or taxes, small business or individual, as well as you can reach me on, or we have an offer rather, of $100 off or 10% off of your first service. So visit our website, tljprofessionalservices.com, or hit us up on Facebook.
Awesome. Thanks, Tracy. Nia, bring us home.
Okay. First, I have a question. Mercedes, do you do business credit or personal credit?
I do personal credit. I will be adding business credit in the near future, very near future.
Okay. Second, my last comment about the thing is just giving your kids options. Because when you ask them what they want to do, they only can fathom what they know about. So if you don't expose them to other jobs, other positions, other careers that are a possibility, then they won't fathom that they could be that. So provide them with options. And so myself, I'm Nia. You can reach me on Facebook. My page is called The Coins Cache, because we're all about keeping coins over here. So it would just be facebook.com/coins cache, CACHE. You can find me on Instagram at _coins_cache. I share financial tips. I share all type of crazy things I do to stay within budget while still living my life. I still travel while staying on a budget. I still do things, and I share all kind of resources for individuals, business owners, ways for you to get the bag without losing the bag. So that's what I do. I don't have any offers, but I do have my book, The 30-Day Money Challenge.
All right.
It's basically for those, it's a 30-day focus on your finances. You do everything from decode your paycheck. You talk about retirement, but a lot of times people talk about retirement, but you don't really actually calculate what income do you need to make in retirement to know how much you need to be actively saving. So it has you figure that, you figure your net worth, you do discipline tests to try to help, stop and slow down your spending. And you just you create tangible goals to know where you want to get based on your own finances. So check that out. It's on Amazon.com. You can look up the 30-Day Money Challenge. And that's what it looks like. And of course, it'll be on my website, www.perspectiveschange.com.
Perfect. Thank you so much, ladies.
Right. I do speak engagements as well. I'm a public speaker as well.
Sorry, Nia. I was gonna say, this has been a great conversation. You guys have shared lots of good tips and some great stories that our audience can appreciate. I want to also let those of you who are watching live and who are maybe seeing the video recording that if you too want to be a part of our talk show and share your story, reach out to us at Black Girl Fin Magic and connect with us via all of our social media. And stay tuned for our topic next month, Tuesday night, November the 12th. We are going to talk about thanking the living legends, really paying homage to those who have poured into us and who have prepared the way for us. So that will end our show for tonight. Thank you, everyone. And
Thank you, Brandy.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're very welcome.